Kamala Harris just became the official nominee of the Democratic Party. If she ends up winning the presidential elections in November, do you think there's any chance that the American foreign policy vis-a-vis Israel will shift at all?
There is no chance at all. Zero. Biden was brain dead for the last 4 years. So most of the policy was being made by Jake Sullivan, by Secretary of State Blinken. Yeah, Biden was an element, but he didn't have the mental capacity really to make lucid decisions. Kamala Harris is a moron. She's stupid. She has no competence for the job. It's a very funny thing that happened because Biden only selected her. He said the reason I selected her is she's a black woman. They wanted to nail down the black woman vote. So they selected Kamala Harris. He was doing that all the time, Biden. In the case of Ketanji Brown Jackson, who he nominated for the Supreme Court, look, she's very smart. So that wasn't what you would call an affirmative action choice. She's smart. She's a very smart black woman. Then he chose a black woman lesbian for his press secretary. She seems to be pretty stupid, and that was a choice. You want to nail down the black woman vote. So that's the only reason Kamala Harris was selected. She has no competence. She has nothing. There's nothing there. She's a complete moron. And then what happened was, it was kind of funny. So the Democrats want to get rid of Biden because he's a corpse. And he's an embarrassing corpse now because the totalitarian PR machine of the Democratic Party couldn't conceal it any longer. It was just out there, impossible to hide. They thought they could hide it and then get the election, and he'll just sit in his in the office eating jelly beans like Ronald Reagan, and his advisors would do everything. So that's what they hoped for, but then it imploded, after the debate with Trump. Disaster, disaster, disaster. So they're all saying Biden, he has to leave. Now, Biden was so demented that he didn't know he was demented. I mean, that's what happens when you get demented. You don't know you're demented. So they had to force the guy out, right? So he is not, even in his demented state, there are moments of lucidity, and he came up with a very good idea. He says, Schumer, Pelosi, Obama, they want me out, okay? All right, I'm going to leave. But you know what he said? I'm going to stick it to them. And you know how he stuck it to them? He said, I'm going to support Kamala Harris. So now he's thinking, you don't want me? You don't want me? You don't want me? Now you're stuck with her. And they didn't know what to do. Now they were stuck with Kamala Harris because he endorsed her. So what are they going to do? If you remember, the three people who most were working hardest behind the scenes to get rid of Biden were Schumer, Pelosi, and Obama. They were also the last three to endorse Kamala Harris. They were the last three. Obama was the very end, but even before that, it was hard to get Pelosi until they realized they're stuck. Because if they didn't endorse her, it would be, oh, you see how they treat black women? She should have been the person, and they didn't support her. So, and she's intersectionally oppressed because she's a black, all that crap, all that woke crap. So they were stuck now with Kamala Harris, and she's a complete incompetent. So she will just be another figurehead, and you can be sure she's going to nominate Blinken for Secretary of State and Jake Sullivan for National Secretary because she doesn't know what she's doing. You're not going to change anything.
Who do you think was their candidate of Pelosi, Schumer, and Obama?
I think probably they wanted an open convention and see who would. Well, open convention, let's be clear, the Democratic Party is a totalitarian party. And so there is no open anything. Everything is decided behind closed doors. Remember, Kamala Harris came in fourth in her own state in the 2020 primary. I mean, to come in fourth in your own state in the primary, you have to be just so terrible. I probably could have done better if I campaigned for 24 hours in California than Kamala Harris. Everything has to be decided behind closed doors. There can't be any popular input. That's not the way the Democratic Party works. Everything has to be decided behind closed doors. So when I say an open convention, they would take their five, major picks and see who does the best. But
I
it would
see.
only be five because we have to control everything. These are totalitarians. We have to control everything.
Thank you so much for listening. If you liked what you heard, please consider subscribing to Smart Cookies on YouTube. What else is there? Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you really liked what you heard, feel free to become my Patreon. No, my patron on Patreon by going to Patreon and becoming my patron. It's really easy. Just type Smart Cookies Podcast in there. You should be able to find me. Last but not least, I have to thank the absolute legends that are my producers on this show, my existing patrons on Patreon: Aida, Mancian, Miha Medved, Medino, Gordon, Jurechuk, Lorenzo, Mila, Carmen, Taichi, Goran, and Veronica. Without you guys, this show wouldn't exist. So massive thanks. And yeah, see you in the next episode. Bye.